And now we're heading to our biography focus with Savanna Croft. Mary Slessor, Girl on Fire, is who we'll be talking about today. Savannah? Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Savanna Croft, bringing you amazing biographies of people around the world in 10 minutes or less. Today we have an unusual focus, a mill girl from Dundee, Scotland, who went on to become the Queen of Okayong, or so she was dubbed. Mary Slessor was born in 1848 to a large family. From a young age, she and her mother hoped a missionary would come from their family, and Mary hoped she would become one of her brother's assistants. Both of Mary's brothers died as children, sadly, leaving the mother and daughter's hopes dashed, and also making them the source of income for the whole family, because Mr. Slessor was an alcoholic. Mary was a passionate Christian and became a Sunday school teacher in one of Dundee's poorest areas. While she worked the looms at her cotton mill, Mary would plan lessons and read books, like her hero, David Livingstone. In her late 20s, Mary applied at the Foreign Mission Board of the United Presbyterian Church of Scotland to become a missionary and hoped to move to Calabar, now Nigeria. The odds were against her. She was a poor, single woman with no skills except working a loom, which wouldn't be helpful in the mission field. But she loved the Lord. She was accepted as a missionary and chosen to go to Calabar, and departed for Duketown on the SS Ethiopia in 1876. Mary moved to 5 different villages and tribes during her lifetime: Duketown, Old Town, Creektown, Ikej in Okayong region, and among the Arrow people. Everywhere she went, she would teach the local children, run a dispensary, collect unwanted infants and toddlers, settle disputes, and hold worship services. In many places, the natives have never seen someone with pale skin and freckles, blue eyes, and red hair, and the children often thought her head was on fire. Mary was an unorthodox missionary, preferring to live and talk like the natives that surrounded her than in the traditional Victorian style. Even her dear friend, King Eo, who was a native, often tried to dissuade her from going on dangerous missions. But Mary was bold and stubborn, and would eventually consider the Calabar home rather than Scotland. Mary often went toe-to-toe with the brutal and inhumane customs among the tribes. Once she saved 2 girls who had left their husband from a slow and painful death of 100 lashings, getting their punishment down to 10 lashings by chastising the girls and arguing with the leaders of the village. Another time, she faced down one of Ikenge's best warriors, who was clad in a jaguar costume, when he was going to pour boiling oil over a woman's stomach. Her crime was giving a man who wasn't her husband food. Mary ran into the crowd of tribespeople and stood in front of the warrior, blocking him from the woman. Of course, the crowd was shocked, and so was the warrior, but after a moment he danced towards Mary, threatening her with a ladle of boiling oil. When Mary refused to back down, the warrior finally gave in and left both Mary and the woman unscathed. This incident made Mary famous among many of the tribes in the area, and shook the foundation upon which the natives lived. At one point, the chief of Ikenge, Chief Edom, got very sick, and the local witch doctor told him the women of his village had cursed him. Chief Edom was going to kill them by trial of the Isar bean, a concoction made from a poisonous bean. It was said that whoever drank the bean and died was guilty of the witch doctor's charge. Occasionally, the victim would throw up the bean before it hit their stomach, and was let free, but that was a rare occurrence. Mary was able to save the women by convincing Chief Edom that by letting the women go, he was showing that he wasn't scared of them. One girl, though, was sold to a tribe famous for its cannibalism towards foreign slaves, but Mary never knew that. That wasn't the only time Mary saved people who were blamed for someone else's sicknesses or death. When Chief Edom's son, Etam, died in a tragic accident, a neighboring village was blamed for his death, and a raiding party attacked the village, bringing back prisoners to drink the Isar bean. Mary was able to rescue the innocent prisoners by honoring Edom in a new way. She dressed the man in pants and wrapped his torso in silk, shading him with an umbrella and giving him a mirror and a whip. She asked missionaries from Duketown to come perform a magic light show and she and a visitor from Scotland named Charles Oven kept a constant vigil over the prisoners while they waited for their fellow missionaries. After the magic light show, the natives finally relented and let the prisoners go, making Edom's death the first death from the chief's family that didn't end in bloodshed. In one of her greatest moments, Mary saved 2 newborns from a death built off superstition. In Calabar, when twins were born, one baby was thought to be the child of a devil, and since it was impossible to tell which child was which, both were killed, and the mother suffered the same fate or was shunned. When a brave woman from a neighboring village told Mary twins were being born, Mary ran to the scene, screaming wildly, and rescued the 2 babies, a boy and a girl. The boy was killed by his father afterwards, but the girl, whom Mary named Janie, survived, and her father eventually grew to love her. Janie would go with Mary to Scotland and was adored by the people there, who saw Janie as tangible proof that the missionaries were making a difference in Calabar. Mary also set up training lines between the villages and taught the tribespeople trades, something that had never been done before or even considered. After Mary taught the people of Ikenj to farm, many people created their own village and more fertile lands, led by one of Mary's first friends in Ikenj, Ma'im. They left right before smallpox hit Ikenj, killing the remaining people, including Chief Edom. Mary was the only person left to bury him. Mary then set sights on Arrow, a ruthless cannibalistic tribe, who had just captured and eaten or sold many travelers, and had been hit hard by the British in retaliation for the injustice. Mary was able to work among the remaining Arrows for a number of years. As a result of Mary's life, countless peoples flourished and countless lives were saved. After 39 years in the mission field, the death of her mothers and sisters, living in 5 different villages, taking 4 furloughs, having a hospital named after her, recruiting many missionaries to Africa, taking on many nicknames like Queen of Okeon or Ika Kapukpuru Oa, which means the mother of us all, and being named vice consul of the native court. Mary died in 1915 in the village of Use. In her honor, schools and government buildings closed. Flags were set at half-mast, and the police lined the road for Mary's procession. At her funeral, many people from all 3 tribal regions in Calabar gathered peacefully to pay their respect. Even compared to what the British had given her, that simple act of gathering peacefully was, perhaps, the greatest tribute to Miss Mary Slessor. Mary Slessor was the true girl on fire, and is an inspiration to many people, including myself. You can find more information about this amazing woman at maryslessor.org, or read the great book Mary Slessor Forward into Calabar, part of the Christian Heroes in the Now series by Jenna and Jeff Benji, like I have. I'm Savanna Croft, and I'll see you next time on Biography Focus.